Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about the summer 2022 art supplies that I picked up that also include my birthday haul. I've got stuff from all sorts of places including Jackson's, Jerry's Artarama, my local art supply store, Amazon, as well as Michael's. So I did go a little crazy this summer, but it does include my birthday, so it was worth it. Let's get started. I'm going to start things out with my local art supply store. I actually just found them recently, so this was actually my first trip to them, and I was surprised to see they carry the full line of M-Gram paints. All of them. Oil paint, acrylic, gouache, watercolor, they had them all. And it was really hard for me to pick just one. I've already got some M-Gram oil paints for my palette, but I didn't have any of the other ones. It was a tough choice to choose between watercolor and gouache, but I ended up going for the gouache. I picked up this little 5-color set, and inside we have the primaries of Azo Yellow, Cobalt Blue, and Naphthol Red, as well as Ivory Black and Titanium White to help mix. But that wasn't enough for me, so I decided to add a green and permanent green light, a burnt sienna, and a burnt umber to round out my palette to get me started. I've already got Winsor and Newton gouache, but I wanted to try a honey-based gouache, which M-Gram does, so I'm excited to see the differences between the two. My local art store also carried different canvases that I'm used to, and I picked up this one here because I love working on black canvases for darker paintings, night skies, things in shadows. I love that. But I've never seen them in square sizes before, so I had to pick up this 10 by 10. And I've never used this brand before, so I'm really excited to try a new brand of canvas. I also took a trip to Michael's this summer. It takes me about 20 to 30 minutes to get to my local Michael's. The only things in town are that little art store I talked about, as well as a Hobby Lobby. But Michael's takes about a 20-30 minute trip, so it's something you do not every day. That said, they had an amazing sale and I had to go pay them a visit, and starting things off was Daniel Smith watercolors. They had all their paint, open stock paint, on sale, buy one get one half off, and I know I wanted a pink, and I found out I didn't have phthalo green blue shade on my palette. I couldn't believe it. How have I gone this long without that color on my palette? I don't even know. But once I discovered that, I knew I had to pick it up, and I wanted a pink, so I picked up Opera Pink, and I'm excited to add those to my palette. Daniel Smith is my main watercolor palette I've had since the beginning of my professional watercolor journey, and I'm always excited to add more colors to it. That said, I couldn't resist getting a few more things. They were having an amazing clearance sale as well. So I picked up some more acrylic brushes. This is the brand of brush that I use for my acrylic paintings, and I kind of filled in the gaps with what they had on clearance of what I'm still missing. So I have a number 6 angle brush, a number 2 bright, and a number 1 filbert. They're the Royal and Langnickel Zen line of brushes, and I love these for my acrylic painting. They also had this Pebeo, I don't actually know how to say this. But yeah, it's a masking fluid pen, and I'm terrible with masking fluid. I try to use rubber brushes, real brushes, you name it, and I'm just terrible with it. So I thought maybe working with a pen nib would be better somehow. So we'll find out and I'll let you guys know. I've also never used more than their economy canvases before, so I actually picked up a couple of their Series 3, level 3. I picked up 2 of their level 3 canvases because they had all canvases buy one get one free. Not half off, free, so I had to try. So I got size 8 by 8 because even still by themselves, one canvas was still pretty pricey for me. So I opted for a smaller size than say like a 9 by 12 or something like that. Let's see. Up next, let's talk about Amazon. Right around my birthday, I decided I wanted to try the Sennelier L'Aquarelle paints. And this was the 12 tube. And it's not the half pans, it's the tube pan. I prefer working from tubes of half pans that I've poured myself than directly from the tube or purchasing half pans. I don't know why, I just do. But it is a lovely set that came with lemon yellow, Sennelier yellow light, French vermilion, Sennelier red, opera rose, ultramarine deep, phthalo blue, which I'm guessing is a green shade. I keep wanting to call this sap green, but it's actually forest green. What is this? Phthalo green light, burnt sienna, Payne's gray, and warm sepia. So a great collection to start you out on. That said, I only had palettes for my Daniel Smith as well as my core paints, so I needed a new palette. And actually what I did, instead of getting a palette, I upgraded my Daniel Smith palette. Here, let's take this out of the way real quick. Because I actually upgraded my Daniel Smith palette to a larger palette. And this sticker is from the lovely Denise Soden of, well, she used to go by In Liquid Color, but she goes by her name now. I'm a patron of hers, been for a while, and I have this, she always sends goodies like stickers, so what better palette to put it on than my Daniel Smith. But, oh, it's still new. It's still new, it won't open. There we go. And I have all my Daniel Smith colors in here. I've got my yellows, reds, purples, blues, greens, there's oranges, neutrals, and earth tones, and then it's kind of like specialty paints here. And you can see I've used it a little bit. Unfortunately, this one here doesn't sit flat all the way, which kind of sucks. But as you can tell from this area right here, mixing this yellow color, it still works just fine. Even though it kind of drains a little bit down, it still works just fine. So then I'm going to use my old palette that used to contain my Daniel Smith colors for my Sennelier, but I also picked up a second one because I just had a feeling I was going to get another new palette again soon, and lo and behold, Jackson's had a wonderful watercolor sale, and I decided it was time to get another brand of watercolor as well. It was time for a Schminke palette. I know I probably should have held off, but the sale was just too tempting to try, so I got myself a palette of Schminke colors in tubes. Oh boy, I think all in total I have 18 colors. Let's sort them out. And there we have it, my new lineup of Schminke colors to add to my collection. This makes a total of 4 for me, so not as many as some people, but definitely more than others. And I'm excited to give both these and the Sennelier a try. That said, I picked up Lemon Yellow, my favorite, Chromium Yellow Hue Deep, Vermilion, Scarlet Red, Ruby Red, Potter's Pink, Cobalt Violet Hue, Ultramarine Finest, Prussian Blue, Helio Turquoise, Viridian, Permanent Green Olive, Transparent Ochre, Transparent Brown, Transparent Umber, and Ivory Black. Now, if you'd like to see either the Sennelier or the Schminke being made into a palette, join me for a future video, so consider subscribing to the channel. It's new here, and I'm excited to start this journey, so I'm going to be doing palettes for both of these and then testing them out and letting you know how I feel about them. The last store for my trip was my direct day before my birthday trip to Austin to go to Jerry's Artarama. We had a wonderful, beautiful day for celebrating my birthday. And one of the main places we went to was Jerry's Artarama. In fact, every time we go to Austin, I stop by, even if I don't get anything, just to walk around and enjoy the experience. That said, since it was my birthday, we did pick up quite a few things. I always start on the one side of the store that has more like pens, paper, erasers, charcoal, that kind of thing. So I picked up 2 kneaded erasers to add to my travel bag, as well as a few Pit Artist pens to line my work with. I have black, white, and brown, so I wanted to add a warm gray, a cool gray, and a light skin tone color. While on that side of the store, my husband also noticed some new papers and decided to pick them up for me. He knows I'm always willing to try new watercolor paper. I love arches, but I love trying new paper as well. And he happened to spot this, and he knows my requirement for watercolor paper has to be 100% cotton. So he picked me up a pack, and I love when it's like this. It's 8x10 sheets, pre-cut. You just take them, slap them right on a board, and get to work, and you don't have to worry about sizing other sheets down or cutting things in half. I just love it just the way it is. Then he also found this Artfinity Synthesis. I'm not new to synthetic paper, but I've never tried this one before, and he really liked the idea of synthetic paper, so he grabbed me a pack while we were there. Then it was time to take a trip to the other side of the store that has paint, easels, and canvases and surfaces. So I started things off with my favorite brand of oil paint, and I got me some more gambling colors. I got permanent orange and manganese blue hue to help add for like sunsets, water, painting, skies, that sort of thing. And then they actually threw in a free tube of Torrid Gray. The girl behind the counter said that they give it out to people who order or buy gambling as well as cool people. She said I was both and made me laugh. Next up, we have my M. Graham paints. I added turquoise and burnt sienna to kind of help again with a little more landscape and a little bit more water and sky colors. I wanted to add that to my palette. That was it for the oil paint aisle. Next up was the acrylic aisle, and you'll notice a similar pattern here of picking up an orange and a blue, but I also added dioxazine purple as well. So this is vat orange and light phthalo blue. I'm not the best when it comes to acrylics. I'm definitely more of an oil painter, but I still love the process and want to get better, so I wanted to add some more colors to my palette. I skipped over the watercolor section because I had already ordered my Sennelier paints, and little did I know later when I came home that evening I was going to deal with the sale from Jackson's. So I skipped over watercolor, but I didn't skimp on the gouache. I had a small palette of gouache, and I wanted to add some more tones to it, like cools and warm tones. I don't know if that's there. I know how to color theory. So I added lemon yellow. Are you sensing a trend with the lemon yellows? I'm getting a lot of lemon yellow. To have a cool yellow. Marigold yellow, which is very orangey from the looks of it. I have Orange Lake Deep, which verges on a red, so a nice warm reddish orange color. Turquoise blue to kind of throw a different blue in there. Prussian blue for a different deep blue. Sap green for convenience, and an extra tube of zinc white to help me out on my mixing. My brush collection also grew. I have quite a few here. They're all from Silverbrush. I love their brushes so much. Starting out, I have this little one here. This is the Black Velvet line, and it's a script liner, #1 script liner. These are my go-to watercolor brushes, and I was looking for something to be a little bit thinner, be able to do maybe some more line work than my rounds. Next up, these are a new brush to me, but I wanted to try them for gouache, is the Silver White line, and I got a 6 and a 2 round. I would have probably picked up a 4 and a few others, but they were a little low on stock, so I got what I could for now, and I can always order more in the future. And then last are the Grand Prix brushes. I love these for oil painting, and I found myself lacking smaller brushes for detail work. So I added a 1 filbert, a 2 flat, and a 0 round to my collection. First up is these DaVinci Pro panels in 4x8. I got 3 of them, and the idea is I'm going to do a continuous painting across all 3 panels. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet, so that's why they're still wrapped up and kind of not sure, but I think I'm going to do a seascape or a sunset of some kind, because that sounds nice, and that's one of my favorite things to paint. These 8x8 DaVinci Pro panels are not new to me. I have a bunch of these, but I needed more, so I picked up a total of 4 more. Right now, I'm going to be working on a kitchen art series where I'm going to be drawing different fruits, vegetables, foods, and other things you'd want to hang in your kitchen. I'm going to be working on that shortly. And I'm really excited to get started because one of my favorite things to paint is bell peppers. Thanks to my high school teacher, and I'm excited to do it again. Then they also had a sale on these Creative Mark The Edge canvases. These are 1.5 inches thick. Look at how thick that big boy is. And I picked up a nice basic size 9x12, not too big, not too small. And I'm not sure what I'm going to paint on this canvas yet, but these sunflowers right here are kind of speaking to me, so this might end up being a big sunflower painting. And since they were having a sale on these canvases, my husband spotted some interesting ones, and as the last thing that we picked up was this, I can't even show it on camera, 3x36 inch canvas, and it's the 1.5 inch thickness again, but I can't even show this boy on camera all the way because it is that big. He said to try something new and different. He liked the size of this canvas and the way it was shaped, and he grabbed it for me. And I think what I'm going to do is paint some koi fish kind of flowing down, almost like a river kind of effect going down the canvas. I think that would be really pretty. And that's everything. Thank you for joining me on my summer 2022 birthday haul video. If there's any of the supplies you'd like to see in more detail or a review of, showing me using them, go ahead and leave a comment down below saying which supply interested you the most. And if you've made it this far, consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel. And until next time, take care and have a good one. Bye for now.